All right, so today's video, we're watching a gold tank. They play Sigma and a few other heroes. Reason why they submitted this game is they wanted to showcase a game where somebody was on the other team was actually, basically they're playing on their off roll, and they end up going a lot of DPS BAP against them, and their team was basically seeing if they could actually end up winning this game, because the other player is, I think in Masters they said, but they were on their off roll, and then they ended up playing DPS. I think they were DPS, and they ended up playing off roll, so we'll see. All right, let's go. And then they were saying the other team, the BAP is like in Masters, but like on DPS, but now they're on their off roll, which obviously will be a little bit different now. So it also means let's go, heck yeah, let's go have a fun time. So and then I think the stat line was like at some point their BAP was at like already 4,000 damage and 500 healing. So here we go. All right, I mean, so far, you know, you're playing fine. The BAP is definitely DPS'd. All right, first of all, I think you played that fine. That is one of those situations where the other team just kept getting damage, and then you're going to get rolled. But going into the second point will be a little bit better. That's just a tough first point. Sometimes you can get snowballed like that and just get rolled. Already a window, so wait. Oh, already the Rhine swap right away. See, I like, believe it or not, I like D.Va on second point because of the high ground control back and forth that you can do. But I also understand why you're going Rhine to kind of go with what they're going with, right? They're playing Rhine. So I'm not gonna, I still would recommend like a high ground hero. Sigma would have been okay for a little bit. Oh, it's a big slam. You gotta pretty much get ready for that shatter. But yeah, I can already see what is happening though. You're not wrong. The BAP is basically going full DPS mode right now, and it's making it difficult. That's the thing, like, believe it or not, that I see that and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm watching someone play BAP because I see that happen a lot in top 500 games, and that's why you hear whenever we're playing ranked, or you hear the discussion about like supports doing a lot of damage, is I go up against a lot of BAP Yari comps, and that's what I'm just like, I see that all the time, is you just have a BAP with 15,000 damage and 12,000 healing, because BAP is a good hero in that sense. You can do a lot of damage output. And then you'll keep hearing that sound the whole game. The sound of that, you hear that sound? You'll hear that the whole game, and you'll be taking a bunch of damage. You're like, oh. So as a team, what you need to do is probably try to focus on keeping that high ground and not allowing BAP to get that value. Like, what is the way that BAP will get value? Doing exactly what they're doing. So the best thing that you can do as a team is take that high ground away from the BAP. Big slam! I respect that play, because honestly, that actually ended up being a good play. This is what I mean, though. Like, I want to point something out, by the way, going back to this game already, and I want to point this out. This high ground is where BAP was going to get this value against you, okay? This high ground and this high ground. This is where BAP is going to get that value. If you're already recognizing the BAP is the reason why they're winning a lot of team fights right now, look at where your team's set up. You have a Reaper on the high ground and everybody else is low ground. This is where, you know, I don't be surprised to see that BAP flank you high ground. And you set on their off roll, they're in Masters, so more than likely the position will be a little bit more on that high ground. Let's go pause right now and take a look at where BAP is. BAP was just on the high ground and got the Reaper a limb. Let's see where BAP ends up going. Wait on the soldier ult, which is a good soldier ult. All right, let's see. Where is that BAP going for right now? Anybody have an idea? Oh, the high ground. I actually might lose that because I don't have any cooldowns, but my point is that BAP is going to keep trying to take that high ground. And where did your soldier get the value from? High ground. So it's okay to start up there initially on these team fights rather than just sitting on the cart like this. So I always have to focus on that a little bit more. You know they don't have shatter. I'm okay with that charge. Thankfully, the Rhine is now also running to the cart one by one, and the other team isn't going for high ground, so this is perfect for you. There you go. That was certainly a play that you made. Okay, so what ends up happening? The BAP goes high ground, and this is the thing I want to kind of showcase to you. And I think this is a good example, all right? It's time.
All right, so listen, high ground is a thing that is talked about a lot by me when I'm doing spectating. Now, sometimes high ground will be good for you, sometimes it won't go as well, it's all comp dependent. But when you recognize that a hero, like BAP, is going high ground, the first thing you want to do is deny the high ground for as long as you can. How often do you find yourself not being able to hold second point Dorado? Well, there's a reason. Oh no, I know you can't see me yet. I know you can't see me yet. I'm just kind of talking about everything that we're doing. Hello, I'm here to talk about high ground and Overwatch 2. Now, I'm in a part of the map now that if I walked over and hit the button, it would be a lot easier to show you the high ground, but you know what? That would take a little bit of the scuffness away from this, as you can tell by what I'm doing right now. So, let's talk about it a little bit. When you're on second point, Dorado, which is the most dominant, if not one of the most dominant high grounds, you see it on maps like Eichenwald, but Eichenwald has a little bit more cover. Why it's important to deny that high ground is because there's a BAP going high ground. Now, what is gonna be the better play for you? Sitting on the low ground with the cart, pretend this is the cart around here, you're like, hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. Great. But if the cart is under the bridge, is it better to sit on the cart like that and just go like this? Hi, BAP. Yeah, you having a good day? Yeah, me too. Oh, you just got 3 of my teammates. Yeah, that's good, that's good. What was that? Oh, you're gonna get me now too. Okay, alrighty, that sounds great. See, and that's what you're doing. So, what you do is you start on the high ground, and they're gonna push that cart. What are you gonna do? You're gonna then drop off the high ground. But as Reinhardt, and this is gonna happen in a lot of games, keep in mind, top 500 plays a little bit differently with how this goes, but a lot of the times, players will follow where the Rein goes. So when you're in bronze, silver, gold, and you're on Reinhardt, they're gonna follow you around the map a lot of the time. They trust the Rein shield. So, if you're up on the high ground, right, and you're looking down at their team going, wow, their team's down there, I will drop now, but my team now has high ground, and the BAP won't have good high ground, and that's what we saw. So, to summarize everything we just said, high ground is good. So go high ground on Dorado. Every other map, it depends. Back to you. Gotta wait for the scene to switch to the thing. The problem here, though, is that I'm the production team for this, so I have to switch the scene, but I don't have the button.
The high ground is important. Granted, it's very situational a lot of the time on high ground, but this is one of those scenarios where, like, that BAP is going to benefit mainly from that high ground, so if you keep giving it up to the BAP is just going to dominate. So, Vent, thank you for the 1,010 bits. Appreciate it. Thank you.
10 10s.
Appreciate it. Same issue here, by the way. Like, and you saw me play a game yesterday on Dorado where I didn't go for the high ground right away, and it was not the correct play. And your team is winning, and this is good, but look what's happening. Where's the BAP at right now? Where's the BAP? Their BAP is, like I said their BAP is in Masters, so a lot of the time, and this kind of shows you how, like, ranks can play a little bit differently. Keep in mind, when we say the BAP is in Masters, it's not the BAP is Masters on support, it's that the BAP is Masters on DPS. And because the BAP is Masters on DPS, you're seeing BAP go for that position a little bit differently, because each rank will play differently, right? Like, each rank, you'll see different positions where people will play, where they'll go on the map, and that's fine, right? It's not going to be perfect, but I still like the idea of bringing up the high ground and the importance of the high ground, because whether or not your team uses that high ground, or even you go to the high ground naturally, as you climb, the more and more that you understand, like, the strength of high ground, the more you'll kind of get used to each new rank that you climb. You know what I'm saying? Shikari, thanks for the 2 gifted. Thank you, appreciate it. Oh, big slam. I respect that. I would have done the same thing, straight up. Cat's like, would you have done the same thing? But what's been the problem? Where's the problem at right now? What's the problem right now? Are you remember what you just watched with the green screen? What's happening, chat? What happened? You're waving hello to the team up above you, and they're just look, and what happens? They take the high ground, they drop down from the high ground, and now they can dominate that. So, like, that is the point I'm trying to make, is like, it's okay to start high ground. Now, I do want to discuss one thing about this, because I think this will happen in a lot of ranks, and probably does. Let's keep watching this. Nice job. Good retake here. Be careful. They still have the high ground. And that whole time, that BAP was up on the high ground, as we were talking about. So I do want to talk about one thing before we start this half, because this is going to kind of go back to what we were just referencing with that high ground. I understand something too, though, that in ranked games, going high ground doesn't mean you're going to get the same value you'll see in bronze, in silver, in gold, etc., right? Each rank will play that differently. One of the problems I think could happen if, like, say you're taking high ground in silver, is that they'll push the cart, and then one of your teammates will be immediately upset the cart is not being stopped and will drop down. Or everybody will drop down seeing that somebody's on the objective. Sometimes we have the discussion, people be like, why are you giving them a tick on Hollywood? First point, you got to stop that. Well, the problem is that in top 500 games, we'll give up 2 ticks just to go and retake the point, because we're kind of like, wait, why don't we just have an advantageous team fight and win the team fight rather than just rush one person to the point over and over again? So in some ranks, that high ground won't bring that same value, but I also like the idea of being able to explain to you why high ground is so important in certain scenarios. And it doesn't necessarily mean that in like a silver game, you're gonna see that high ground be used, but I'm more explaining the reasons to why it's good. And as you climb, you'll get more usefulness out of that high ground. Right? That sound good? When do you drop on cart? Situational. If they're out of position, you get a pick. It's very situational. That part's the next step to high ground, but I'm also just kind of showing you that, like, starting on high ground, just to begin with, and being the Reinhardt to drop down. That's a stop. That's a step, right? That's a step. You know what? I don't mind that dive. I'm gonna be honest with you. Probably should have backed up the moment you saw the Sojourn being pocketed by the Mercy. But I don't mind the concept of taking the high ground now with this Winston. All right, back to the Sigma. Apparently you're gonna, randomly AFK. Oh, nice job. You debated the Bastion. That's a good start for your team.
Wasted.
You have played bronze games, or you have been high ground, the cart moves all the way through the point as fights are being taken everywhere around, and there's nothing you can do, which is fair. That's why I do want to, when I bring up some of like the advice or like tips that we bring up, it doesn't mean that it's going to fully be applied. It doesn't mean that it's going to be fully applied to every single rank and rank game at that time, but having the knowledge of that, especially as you keep climbing, will be super helpful for when that playstyle starts to shift a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Because the playstyle starts to shift a bit more as you climb. Good shield? This is good. You don't have to ult this, by the way. You just, nice job. I was gonna say, sometimes you'll either over ult there, or you'll try to go for the elim on BAP. It's okay just to use your eat, because then BAP won't get that value. And by the way, I do want to point something out now. You see the situation so far where the BAP doesn't have that high ground control against you right now? And how when the BAP's like has to play low ground, they're getting rolled? This is what I mean by that too. By the way, I want to point something out. Are you ready for this? In theory, you can go all the way up here to take high ground. It's a good play. How often do you see people do that even in top 500? Not as much. You want to know why? It takes forever, and the other team just over-rotates, and that takes one elim, and you just sit there and do it again. So I'm not going to be too much, like, getting the high ground here is good, but I wouldn't, even in top 500 games, going for this side of high ground and attack, it doesn't happen as much. That's why you see more mobile heroes be played on second point, because it's just like, it's so much easier than doing that. I still think, I would love it if Dorado added an extra way to get up to that high ground, because that takes so long. Yeah, you can absolutely Sigma ult to get high ground here. 100%. I probably would here, actually, too. Yep. What rank is this? I think it's gold. Big slam! Nice pick. You can stop the res here with ult. Nice. They're going to res that, but I'm okay with this. Good job. Hey, good ult there, good decision. And then now a Widow across high ground rolls you. Welcome to Dorado. That was a good decision on that play though. The res is gonna happen once you don't immediately do that. You pretty much have to be in your ult to even stop that res, but you did a good play off of that. But then what happens? Widow across the high ground one-shots you, and now see, I'm telling you, this BAP, if they keep playing like this, is gonna fall over. Even though they're, like I said, they're off rolling right now, but like they are gonna be out of position. Like that BAP is not even going high ground right now. So. There's the Widow. Good job by the Genji. I would recommend, by the way, at a certain point here, it's okay to go a mobile hero. Like I would go. When I say Keep in mind, when I say I would go this hero, it doesn't mean this is the hero I'm recommending that you go. I'm just giving you an example of the hero that I would go here. Because I'm not the best Winston, I would probably go D.Va here because I like being able to... I actually like the Rein versus D.Va matchup. Not from a, I'm going to sit in front of the Reinhardt swinging on me, but I can take the high ground from that Rein and get value. So that's what I end up going here, and I would probably get decent value against what they're doing. So... keep in mind that it's going to be preference. It's going to be what you feel is the best hero for you on this part of the map. I go that for the high ground control, and knowing that I'd be able to probably get behind the Rein, above the Rein, and maintain that high ground behind them, all while taking advantage of like people who are playing really aggressive up there, right? Like if there's like a BAP playing really aggressive, right? You can take advantage of that position. You get what I'm saying? Things like that. Like if they're out of position and you have high ground behind them, you're going to roll them. If the Rein's out of position, you can take advantage of that bad map control. Things like that. So this is okay. This is an angle that I will take on Sigma sometimes. This is fine. Back away now. Now, this goes back to what we were talking about. Your team is still very much struggling against that high ground. Bap's up there now. Widow's up there right now. Obviously, I think you're going to lead in with the Sigma ult here, but I still think there's going to be some improvement you can have off of this. We'll see what happens, of course. Use your ult here. I know you want to switch or you're typing to somebody, but I would use your ult. Okay? What's the play? Big slam! Ryan's on the low ground holding the cart. The rest of the team is playing high ground right now. For the most part, you see a BAP in your spawn. What is the play that you need to do right now? What is happening to your team? I'm going to tell you what's happening to your team right now. You ready? You're not making a play. You're not being proactive with your play. You're waiting for the other team to, like, just go in with a Sigma ult right now. And I promise you the other... Well, sorry. I say I promise you. There's no guarantee. But the other team will overreact a little bit to an ultimate because they now have to react to what you're doing. If you keep sitting there trying to brawl the Reinhardt, you're waiting on your teammate to get a pick. But look at your teammates. You're playing Soldier 76 and Reaper on second point Dorado. So this is where you want to lead in with this ultimate to create that space for the rest of your teammates, and then your teammates will be able to do that. Here we go. Shield off the Widow. Okay, just lead in. Lead with your ult. Just lead in with your ult. Just... Or, after all that discussion, there you go. Nice. There you go. You're leading with your ult now. Good job. Now your teammates can follow up on that and get map control. There we go. That Widow wasn't high ground. Free a limb. There you go. Lead in with your ult. Look at chat. Look at chat. Look at chat. Good play. Good play. You have plenty of time to make this play. This is perfect. This is perfect. Nice job. Look what you can do from up here. The BAP now has to try to 1v1 a Sigma. Your teammates have the map control. You have the high ground. See? Even if you do nothing here, right? Chat, I want to point something out right here. I want to point something out. Missed 15 shots in that BAP. Guess what? We have all been there. You will watch my stream in a top 500 game. And guess what? I'll miss the shots in the BAP. But what was the number one thing that happened there? What was the number one thing that happened right there? The BAP couldn't do anything. The BAP couldn't DPS. The BAP couldn't lamp their team. So now, the BAP, who has been clearly dominated most of this game, gets zero value. You didn't even have to hit shots against them because they're not doing anything. And you have the high ground, so you can shield off the BAP and then just spam down on them anyway. BAP needs to get through a 700 HP shield. If they don't pay attention to you, you can get in the limb on them, or at least this is the point I'm trying to make. Do you see that? So, like, sometimes you don't even get value out of getting that a limb. You just get value out of just being there. Yep, Brock. Nice job. I'm partying. Thanks for the gift and stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. I want to point out where you're at again, by the way. Good job here. Well played. Nice job. And look at... You can ult him now if you want. No, don't ult. Even if... I do want to point out sometimes, even if, like, you lose a team fight during that, what you did right there was still good. Because I want to point out, as Sigma, if you're just sitting there on the cart, the Ryan's just gonna swing on you. And you're just gonna get rolled anyway for the most part. So, like, it's okay that, like, you lost the team fight, but you also made a correct play. And that can happen. That can happen a lot in Overwatch. Nice job. Good play. By the way, if you decide you want to ult that high ground and take that high ground, it's an okay play. Good job. Great play. Shoot the lamp. Kill the bat. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Mercy decided to fly in and try to res the BAP right away. The Widow's... Now, keep in mind, I just want to once again point out where you just were the majority of that team fight. Do you see the value that brought your team? Do you see that? Careful of the Rhine just for a second. Help with the Rhine. Shield off main. Perfect. Perfect. So why do you shield off main, chat? Look at that shield. They can't do anything. The Reinhardt doesn't have shatter. You don't have to worry about that. Gets no value. See? Look at that. They can't do any DPS. The Reinhardt, you don't get any benefit from shielding off the Rhine. Where did everything start here, chat? Right up here. See? No, it's not an ego VOD. This hasn't even been close to an ego VOD. That was a good job on attack. But like that's not an ego VOD at all. Not even close. Oh, no worries at all. That Zen is now... Okay, so that Zen is now flanking you. That's gonna be... I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, chat. You ever get into a game... I'm sure chat's had this, where you get a Zen who's always, like, flanking or getting... And they just get so much value. And, like, in theory, they shouldn't, but no matter how much you try to get that Zen, somehow they get 2 picks randomly. And then you can't... Like, it just happens, and I don't know how to explain it. Keep in mind, this happens in top 500, too. You'll have a Zen on the flank, and you know they're there, but somehow they get so much value. And you don't know, like, you do everything you should do to get them out of that spot, but they still just dominate. And the other team will take advantage of that and just keep getting the limbs as you turn for a half of a second. JST, thanks for the free round stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Sincerest apologies. The barrier appears. Return to me. Keyboard broke? Yeah, I think so. That Zen is still in spawn, by the way. Yeah, Brock? Good shield for now. I would shield... Actually, you don't have to shield. Zen's gonna flank bridge. Zen's gonna flank bridge. Get ready for bridge flank. It's gonna happen. Yeah, Brock? You can ult this now. Good ult. Good job. Nice pick. Good job going to the point, because you don't know if your team's going to be able to hold that. Oh, I'm going to need you to survive that that big slam Mei ult there. You're going to need to survive that with the Zenyatta. By the way, the Zenyatta, no one got the Zen and got full value from behind. Why? You're going to get that Discord orb. The whole time, you have the increased range. I mean, not the increased range. You have the heal that will now last longer on teammates. And that's what I mean. That whole time, the Zen survived behind you and got full value. So, by the way that the Sigma played that there towards the end was perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. That was just the other team played that well, made a good play, hit their ultimates. Nothing you can do about that. The barrier appears. Good job going high ground. This is a good starting point for your team. Now, I'm gonna pause for a second, okay? And this is why you'll hear me make this call out sometimes. As a tank, when you get that vision, and you don't have to do this every game, but as a tank, you might have some of the early vision on their team that your other teammates won't have, right? And this can be an advantage for your team, okay? What is missing here? Where's their other support? Now, keep in mind, you don't know they're on Zen right now. You don't know they're on Zen, right? But they're not there. You don't see them at all from the vantage point you had. You didn't see any of them. Where's their support? So that leaves 2 options. Technically 3 options, but more than likely going to be 2 options. The Zen is either going to go all the way over here, right? I know where the Zen's gonna be, because I don't see them here. They're not here. There's only one other spot the Zenyatta's gonna be. Now, what's going on over here? Because it went underneath this way. That's why it's important, if you have that vantage point, to call out. Or, you know, you don't, like I said, you don't have to do this, but this can help. I don't see their other support. Watch your flank. Now, more than likely, your teammates will ignore that call. They'll get killed by Zen and go, where was that Zen? Happens to me in top 500, all right? But it's a good habit to get into. Now, you fell off the high ground. I'm not entirely a fan of that, but I'm going to let this team fight go and see what happens. Remember, they have a Rhine. You don't brawl well against a Rhine. Hey, it worked. It worked. Zenyatta did get a pick. Zenyatta got 2. So that, by the way, that flanking Zenyatta got a Mercy and got an Ana. You have no supports now. Okay, that Zenyatta that flanked got 3. So now you're out of position. You had no supports. You went in there. But see, like, this is what I mean. Rather than fall back the moment that you lose both your supports, you push up there. And initially, nothing happens, but your supports aren't there. And then they finally get to you, but now they have to spam cooldowns on you while a Reinhardt and May go on you. So remember, Sigma, you're not playing Reinhardt or Sigma, you're playing Sigma. You benefit from, like, playing distance. Now, your team can still win this. You have a Mercy who might get back in time. You have a couple ultimates, but you never know. Good job going to switch heroes here. This is a correct choice, by the way, chat. That 75% ult charge becomes irrelevant if you don't win the team fight anyway, right? So getting back to point here is good. Win or lose, this is a good swap. Now you get to sit there as Wrecking Ball and just enjoy your teammates all being able to just sit there and destroy you through the ultimate. Okay. So, here's the thing. Your team lost that game. I still think you played well as a team overall to kind of bring that back a little bit, but obviously it didn't go as well as it could have. So, my recommendation to you is recognize the heroes you're playing against. So, if you're a Sigma playing against a Reinhardt, you're playing Sigma, not Reinhardt. You've heard me talk about that in spectating before. Play Sigma. You play distance. If you lose both of your supports, don't go push into that team. Back away. The safe place to do that. Yes, you're going to have moments you can push into them and get in the limb, but what happened? Zenyatta gets 3. You try to fall back in time. Their teammates have spawned up from the limbs you got earlier. You lose that. Best bet you can do is fall back, play it safe. Now you're on Sigma with 75% ult charge and probably get Sigma ult in that last team fight. 2, high ground's important. You did that well on attack. Defense, not so much. To work on that a little bit, but overall, you played pretty well, and obviously it can be tough when, you know, players on the other team are playing a good position. Like I said, they were on their off roll, so they kind of knew where they wanted to go on the map. They may not be the best at support at that point, but they still know where they want to go, and then that good position alone can win games. So work on that stuff, you should be good to go. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, sub to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. A lot of awesome videos on there. If you want to submit your own spectate, and look in the description below, what you will see my Discord. That's where you submit the spectating videos. Follow everything in that description if you haven't, though, because then you follow all my stuff and you're like, wow, I follow this stuff, and then he made like a tweet or something, and then I liked the tweet. It was sweet. Or Instagram or something. Record these live on stream, too. With that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.